Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm Day-Glo Buffalo and this is Let's Play The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So when we last left off, we had just left a party, or basically dematerialized from a party because we were Trillian at the party. Now we're back to being Arthur, and we're most likely back on the Heart of Gold. Yup, here we are in entry bay number 2. We don't have any more tools, do we? Nope. But what we did is we put a ball of fluff into Trillian's purse while we were at the party. So let's go south. The handbag is here. Let's take the purse. I just write purse because it's shorter than handbag. Open purse. Look in purse. And jacket fluff. So take fluff. Drop purse. Do you have anything else useless? Tea, towel, and guide. Nope. But we can drop the fluff here. Announcement! This is Eddie, the shipboard computer. We have just landed on the legendary lost planet of Magrathea. I don't want anyone going outside until I've checked the atmosphere, climatic conditions, existence of dangerous wildlife, airborne diseases, volcanic activity, presence of real estate agents, and more than 8,000 other possible dangers. This routine check will take 14.9 years, and don't even think about leaving until I finish, because I'm jamming the hatch. Okay, so we've got a jammed hatch. We can't get off the ship, even though we've already landed where we're trying to go. So the hatch is jammed shut, and we're probably going to have to find a way to open that hatch. But not for now. We still don't have enough tools to do that. So let's go back up. And save. And let's turn on the drive again. So I had to do a little editing there because, of course, I ended up screwing up, which is par for the course for me. So we're back on the bridge before we activated the drive. So let's turn on drive. And let's see if this time we can get to the place I wanted to get to. Bit cold and wet. No, I don't want cold and wet. I want warm and wet. Oh, wait. Let's look to change up. All right. Okay, warm and wet. Here we are. Once it decides on a scenario where you end up, if you then use a different sense, it starts randomizing the scenarios again. So here, we feel warm and wet. That's where we actually wanted to go. So let's taste liquid. Yuck! You're jerked to your senses by the realization that you're licking the lining of a whale's stomach. Inside the sperm whale. You're in the stomach of a sperm whale. You can hear a distant sound of rushing wind. There's a flower pot here. So we want to take this flower pot and put the flower pot in the thing. Because otherwise it doesn't transfer back to the Heart of Gold, which I learned the hard way just a moment ago. And of course, since we are now in a sperm whale that materialized in the outer atmosphere of a planet which is quickly rushing to its death by contact with the ground, this scenario cannot be repeated. So I was unable to get the pot back to the Heart of Gold. The sperm whale splattered on the floor, on the ground of the planet. And I could not come back to get the flower pot back again, so the game became unwinnable, as it very often does. But this time, I think we should have done everything right, so let's wait. Time passes, time passes. Oh, come on, I can't. Splat! Everything becomes dark, and we should be back on the Heart of Gold. And here we are. Let's go south to where the fluff is. And here we have a flower pot, so we can drop the flower pot. Very good. So one thing that is kind of really frustrating and annoying about this game is that there are tons of ways in which the game becomes unwinnable. As I said, I consider that a design flaw, even though back then they didn't necessarily know any better. It didn't become a thing to not make an adventure game unwinnable until later. But still, it could have been easily designed in a way where it does not become unwinnable, at least for some of the situations. But they chose not to do so, and honestly, it's kind of frustrating. Anyway, go back up, and we're back on the bridge. So let's save. This time let's save number 3, just to be on the safe side. And let's turn on drive. Like fog rolling off the ocean. So what can we do? You can hear anything, see anything, smell anything, or taste anything. Yeah, but we've already done feeling, so we don't want that. Let's try if we can see anything. You see a painfully bright light that stabs at the front of your eyes. So let's look at light. The light resolves itself into the bright yellow sun of Earth. You're hurrying up a country lane. The sky is light and clear, but you keep glancing at it with apprehension because you know that it will shortly be torn apart by Vogon ships, and that the hills and trees around you will just burn up and blow away, and you hope that there's time for a quick drink beforehand. You want to hitch a ride aboard the Vogon fleet, but you are anxious because it's so long since you were through a matter transference beam. Country lane. The road runs from Arthur's home to the north towards the village pub to the west. Let's go north. Front of house. Before you is the house of your friend, Arthur Dent, who is lying in front of a bulldozer. You have no idea why. You have no idea about most things about Arthur, even why you regard him as a friend, but you do, and must therefore return his towel before you leave. Nearby stands an impatient man. There seems to be a bit of an atmosphere. Okay. Let's give towel to Arthur. Because, well, by now I think you figured out that we are Ford this time. Oh. Open satchel. We can finally look inside. Opening the satchel reveals Centrogenian mineral water, a towel, the Hitchhiker's guide, an electronic sub-ether signaling device, and satchel fluff. So let's take the fluff, which is going to be important. And let's give towel to Arthur. Inexplicably, Arthur takes no notice of the towel, which magnificently you are trying to return to him. Instead, he says, "Ford, what about my home?" You start guiltily. Does he actually know that Earth is about to be destroyed? You start to ask him, then stop. If he knows, what the Zark is he doing lying here in the mud in front of... You look around. You notice the bulldozer properly for the first time. You notice Arthur's house. You notice the workmen. The penny drops. His house is about to be demolished. You feel like a complete, what's the word? Idiot? Thank you. An idiot is exactly what you feel like. In a reckless moment, you go completely mad and decide that you ought to take Arthur with you. You try to tell Arthur about the importance of getting a drink, but he's rambling on about a man called Prosser. So let's look at Prosser. Mr. Prosser from the local council is standing on the other side of the bulldozer. He seems to be wearing a digital watch. Let's talk to Prosser. Prosser can't hear you from here. So go around bulldozer. You walk around the bulldozer. Prosser is standing here, looking cross and frustrated. Realizing that you're a friend of Arthur's, he starts to talk at you. He says that this sort of protest is all very well, but what Mr. Dent must realize is that he's had plenty of time to make a formal protest at the proper time and place, and that spending months going through the appropriate official channels, filling in the appropriate official forms, and going to the appropriate official public hearings is the right way of going about it, and that lying around whimsically in the mud is not. He says that he personally hates mud and despises the sort of people who lie in it. Okay. But we have to get him to lie in it so that Arthur can come along with us. So Prosser, lie in mud. Prosser blinks in astonishment. You mean go and lie in the mud in his place? You explain that Arthur will only move if someone else takes over for him. Prosser shakes his head in such a manner as to suggest that he is very wary of the world, and you tactfully forbear from mentioning that it won't be troubling him much longer. Reluctantly, he follows you back toward Arthur. You rapidly conclude the business. Prosser lies in the mud. Arthur, bewildered, nevertheless stands up and appears ready to follow you to the pub. So let's go south. Country Lane, Arthur follows you, and west, pub. There's a barman serving at the bar. Arthur follows you. So we have to buy peanuts, because that's one thing we give Arthur after the matter transference. You buy some peanuts, which you'll need to replace protein lost from the matter transference beam. A tip you picked up from the Hitchhiker's Guide. Okay, then buy lots of beer. You order 6 pints of bitter, 3 for you, 3 for Arthur. According to the Hitchhiker's Guide, this should cushion your system against the coming shock of the matter transference beam. As you drink the first pint, you mention to Arthur that you're from a different planet, but it makes little impression. This surprises you because you thought it was the sort of thing that would interest people. Drink more beer. It goes down well. At least I managed to get something right on this benighted planet. You decide it's time to tell Arthur that the world is about to end. You tell him. Arthur is completely unperturbed, curious. You wonder what sort of news it would take to disturb him. I think we're about to find out. Drink more beer. It goes down well. You hear a muffled crash. It's probably Arthur's little house getting knocked down, which you tell him. This does upset him, and he tears out the door. Through the window, you see him running up the lane. A small dog chases after him, yapping, and he throws it a cheese sandwich. The dog devours the sandwich with passion and ignores the passing microscopic space fleet. Alright, so let's chase after him. Country Lane. You run up the lane after Arthur. You pass a serene dog. Fate cannot harm him. He has dined today. It's north. You reach the site of what was Arthur's home. It is now a pile of rubble. Mr. Prosser looks sheepishly triumphant, a trick few people can do as it requires a lot of technically complex deltoid muscle work. Front of house. Arthur Dent is here. Mr. Prosser from the local council is standing at the side of the bulldozer. He seems to be wearing a digital watch. So one thing that's important that we have to do now, because we picked up our satchel fluff and we want to get it back to the Heart of Gold, and we can't leave it in the satchel because Arthur won't open the satchel and take anything from it. So give fluff to Arthur. Arthur hiccups, take the fluff and sticks it in his pocket. All right. So all we can do now is wait. Right on schedule, according to the news you picked up last night on your sub-ether sensomatic, a huge fleet of Vogon construction ship hurtles noisily through the sky. Time is very, very short. Storms break out in the wake of the ships. The wind whips at you and makes it difficult to stand. You grab hold of a tree. We do have the sub-ether sensomatic, or yeah, I think it's the sensomatic that is used for hitchhiking, but as we played before, we saw that Arthur was actually the one that will use it, so we have to wait. The vast yellow ships thunder across the sky, spreading waves of terror and panic in their wake. The voice of the Vogon captain slams across the country, insisting that the planning charts and demolition orders have been available at the local planning office in Alpha Centauri for 50 years. And it's too late to start making a fuss about it now. You remove the electronic sub-ether signaling device from your satchel. Lights pulsate across its surface. You fumble with the thumb as you hold onto the tree against a fierce wind. It falls to the ground near Arthur's feet. Arthur is struggling desperately towards you. The end of this planet is now only seconds away. So it's actually the sub-ether signaling device that they use, not the sensomatic. So let's wait again. Ugh. Time passes. Fierce gales whip across the land, and thunder banks continuously through the air. In the wake of the giant ships, you struggle to reach the thumb, but the wind is too fierce, and you're driven back. Fortunately, at this point, Arthur picks up the thumb and somehow manages to push the right button. However often you do it, you are still stunned by the shock of dematerialization. The scene around is ripped away like a flimsy backcloth. Everything becomes dark. Alright, so again, we ended up in the dark, and as always, it's a good place to end the video, so I'll thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Until then, have a good one.